A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Wuhan in the center of China. We're at the Wuhan Sports Center. This is in the province of Hubei, of course in Wuhan itself. And a big crowd has gathered inside the sports arena here because the host nations, the defending champions and the BWF Thomas Cup favourites are in action tonight. Yeah, day 3 of the 2012 Dongfeng Citroën BWF Thomas Cup. We've seen some fast hitting tonight. Fu Haifeng is going to be in action, 279, the fastest. Earlier today, we saw Tan Bu Hong in men's doubles action, coming up with 275, his partner with 271. And we'll see Marcus Kido tonight. We won't see Mohamed Hassan, more on the lineup in just a moment. As for the women, well, Camilla Ruttoyul, although beaten today by the Japanese, she's still top of that table as fast as the hardest hitting woman here this week so far in the Uber Cup is concerned. So that's about the hard hitting, but the hard facts are China have dominated this Thomas Cup. They are looking for 5 in a row, and the locals here are expecting nothing than a 5-0 whitewash here tonight against Indonesia in the world's biggest and most prestigious team event. They're coming up against Indonesia, who of course they met in the Thomas Cup final 2 years ago in Kuala Lumpur. Two sides and two nations with a proud history of the Thomas Cup. China, who have won the last 8 titles in total. Indonesia, this is their 24th Thomas Cup appearance, 13 times winners. No one's won it more. Of course, China didn't enter until the early 80s. England already heading home. It's between these two to win the group. Well, I'm Richard Kaufman, and we're looking forward to a terrific evening's entertainment. Here is the lineup. Lin Dan, the reigning Olympic, Asiad and world champion, up against S.Santoso, played well last night. You can see from the Indonesian pairings, they've split Setiawan and Kido, the Olympic men's double reigning champions. Kido playing with his brother Septano, and Setiawan playing with Saputra. So Kai and Fu, maybe weren't expecting that. Chen Long up against Sugiyato, and Chen Jin's in tonight for China. Du Penggu, the player who drops out with his men's singles, finishing off against Rubaka. Well, alongside me is England's most capped player of all time, a silver medal winner in the Uber Cup. Joe Clark is here. We can ask this question all week: can anyone stop China? You get the feeling tonight that Indonesia will have their work cut out just to even win a match.
Yes, that's right. You know, it's perhaps a surprise to some people that Taufik Hidayat, the former world and Olympic champion, not in Indonesia's lineup. I suspect that Indonesia have looked at this and said, well, if we are to eventually lift the cup this year, what we have to do is try and save some of our star players for quarterfinals, perhaps semi-finals, and perhaps even the final. And therefore, I suspect that Taufik Hidayat, at the age of 30, didn't fancy, as Lee Yongbo, head coach, talking to Darren Parks, tournament director from the BWF.
Now, I'm not sure what this is about, but of course, Joe, it's 5 past here, and nobody's out yet. Everything's been very much on time so far in the Thomas and Uber Cup proceedings here. So I don't know if that's what is being discussed. Maybe somebody's not 100% ready, but we haven't got that information for you yet. While we're waiting for the players to come out, it's a good time for me to give you the news as we wait for Lin Dan and Simon Santoso about Lee Chong Wei, who, if you weren't watching earlier, is out of the Thomas Cup after injuring his ankle in his singles match against Peter Gader. He was taken by ambulance to hospital after waiting around 45 minutes to leave the arena here. They got it scanned. He has torn his ankle tendon and will be out, according to Rashid Sidek, the coach of Malaysia, for 3 to 4 weeks. It's not as bad as it could have been, not great in terms of his preparation, of course, for the Olympics, but they're confident that he will be in time, fit in time for the London Games at the end of July. Jill, your reaction to that?
Well, I'm absolutely delighted to hear that it's not as serious as some of us suspected at the time when it actually happened. I mean, I really winced. I really felt for him, because it was quite obvious immediately that it was a fairly serious injury. Of course, it's great news he'll be back on court and playing in the Olympic Games. But of course his preparation for the Olympics is going to be drastically affected. He won't be able to do any hard training for quite some time.
No competitive action.
No, and there's 2 Super Series events prior to the Olympics. He was only planning on playing one of those 2. He was planning on going to Indonesia for the Premier Super Series event. He won't be doing that now, but I have to say it's a huge relief to know that he will indeed be back in action.
Well, if he's out for 3 to 4 weeks, it gives him another 3 to 4 weeks to prepare and be ready for things. Now, there's a lot of discussion as we move away from the subject of Lee Chong-wei between the tournament director and the Chinese team members. Now, as I say, we haven't yet got information that's filtering through to us, but there's obviously some issue here that's creating the delay. Of course, the players should already be out warming up and getting ready for this opening men's singles match, as if we haven't had enough drama today on day 3 of this Thomas and Uber Cup tournament. It looks like something else dramatic is occurring here. Jill, I mean we're only guessing at the moment, but
yes, and I'm as confused as anyone. I did see that Lee Yong-bo, head coach, was in what appeared to be an animated discussion with Darren Parks and Jan Lin, both from the BWF, the Badminton World Federation. I don't know what the discussion was about. As you say, we haven't been given any information. I don't understand why none of the courts, none of the players have come out for the last of these group matches. Of course, from tomorrow, it's the knockout stage, quarterfinals onwards. Well, there we can see reigning world champion in the women's singles, Wang Yihan.
She's about to play in her match against Indonesia. Of course, the women are playing as well on the other court 2. There's Lin Dan as well. It looks like they're ready to come out. Discussions continue though. Meanwhile, between the Chinese camp and the tournament director. Go on, Joe, you're going to say?
Well, I can see that the tournament referee is also getting involved now. I don't know what the discussion is. Could it be something about the colour of the shirts, or... No, it's all very, very confusing, I have to say.
Well, the crowd are still enjoying themselves. They've got a bit of Queen to rock to. Instead, We Will Rock You, but they're hoping for Lin Dan to rock them, but he waits like we wait. Let's look at this lineup again. As you mentioned, no Taufik Hidayat, but no one's expecting Indonesia here to win tonight. Why play their strongest side? Why play all their cards now? They could play China again tomorrow in the quarterfinals.
Yes, that's right, and I can understand the logic of it. What I'm slightly surprised about is the Indonesian lineup in the men's doubles. We've been trying to find information about Marcus Guido and Bona Septono because they're brothers. We're trying to ascertain whether they've actually played international competition together.
Well, the team manager told me they have. He couldn't name me where or when, and he said they played junior tournaments together as well, which you would expect given, they're not too far apart in age, but you can't remember any specific events.
No, I've certainly never seen them play together before, but the other thing there, of course, Tommy Sugiarto at second men's singles. He's a very physical player, of course, son of the former world champion Ichuk Sugiarto, and perhaps Indonesia are thinking long-term that if they use Sugiarto with his physicality in the match to perhaps really work Chen Long, then perhaps that may take the sting out of Chen Long as far as later on in the competition is concerned. But you look at this and well, perhaps second men's doubles as far as China is concerned, Shen Ye and Hong Wei, well, they're the third ranked Chinese men's doubles pair. I'm not convinced in my own mind that they're not better than the second-ranked pair. So I look at China's lineup and I say, well, this is probably the strongest lineup, in my view, that they could field.
Well, just trying to ascertain what's going on. I think this is about seating plans, Jill. Because if you look behind court 1, it's all Chinese. You look behind court 2, and it's all of Indonesia. Now, I've actually sent my rover reporter to find out. Hold on 1 second, Jill.
Well, this was the Chinese team just prior to 7 p.m. local time. That was about 10 minutes ago when they did a team huddle.
Okay, my assertion was right. It is about seating plan. Now, there's been some platforms put in for the seating of the players behind. Now, China have taken the majority of those seats. Indonesia have refused to start the game until there's an equitable seating plan. So that's why we've got this delay. All about nothing really, Jill. Rather bizarre. All about who sits where and who, you know, who's going to give way. And obviously Indonesia is saying, we're not going to give way, you need to move.
Yes, it's a pity that the tournament organisers haven't thought this thing through. Certainly by the semi-final stage, when we're down to 1 court, I'm quite certain that they'll have seating plan alongside the court of both teams, and they will have equality on the number of seats and so on. What they hadn't thought about was the last of these group matches. Because,
of course, as I was saying, China are playing in Indonesia on court 1 and court 2. Court 1, what we're going to see is the men, on court 2 is the women, so I think that's added to the problems maybe of the fact that there are so many bodies down there.
Yeah, absolutely, but as you say, I mean, it seems trivial that it should hold up play and hold up the whole proceedings. It psychologically, in sport, it has quite a significance, you know, and that's why I say that it's a pity that this hasn't perhaps been addressed before we come to this confrontational situation.
Well, it was, I dare say, not going to be too even on the court, but it looks like it's pretty even off the court right now, because Indonesia are very much standing their ground. Discussions continue to go, and I think maybe there may have been some kind of compromise involved here, and hopefully we're 15 minutes late already. We actually might see some badminton here tonight. An expectant crowd are waiting. At the moment they're being very patient. No dissent amongst the locals. There are very few seats to be taken. It's almost completely sold out, as you would expect. And I must say thanks to Steen Peterson for rushing down there and confirming to me what the actual story was all about. You'll be hearing from Steen a little bit later on when he joins us in the commentary box, the former coach of Denmark. Well, here they come. The officials are on their way, which means I think we're just about sorted out now.
Now introducing the umpire in court 2, umpire from France. Service judge Jacob Sigburn from Denmark.
Just adds to the anticipation of this, doesn't it?
In court 1, umpire David Turner from Australia. Service judge S.Santoso.
It's going to be a huge welcome for Lin Dan when he comes out. He's a national hero, Super Dan. He was in terrific form in his opening match against Rajavusev. And obviously the man he's playing, S.Santoso, was also in pretty good form as well when he played the same man from England. So it should be a good match, this opening one. Well, as well, given the fact that we've waited so long, I think just we'll heighten the noise a little bit. But it's been that kind of day so far. Started off with the drama here with Lee Chong-wei. Well, I don't need to tell you, even if you can't understand the announcer here, that Lin Dan is on his way. the world number 2, the reigning Olympic champion, the reigning world champion, the reigning ASEAN champion. China's superstar is on his way to court number 1. Well, it was much anticipated to watch Lin Dan ahead of the night. The fact that we've had to wait an extra 20 minutes means the crowd are desperate to see their man in action here.
Well, my immediate reaction is the strapping on the left knee of Lin Dan. Certainly had slight knee problems in the past, but that strapping looks quite extensive to me.
Well, I'm sure he is aware of what happened to perhaps his biggest contender for the gold medal earlier today. Our referee is from Australia, the umpire David Turner. He'll be keeping hold of proceedings. Lin Dan, considered by some the greatest player of all time, up against the world number 9 here, S.Santoso. Only beaten Lin Dan once in 10 attempts, and that was when Lin Dan had to retire hurt as well in a meeting at the Swiss Open some 5 years ago now. Lin Dan, though, has a pretty good head-to-head record against anybody, Jill.
Yes, he does. I do actually remember that match very vividly at the Swiss Open semi-final, and it really was the most terrific opening game. 27-25 that S.Santoso won. He was 5-love up in the second, and Lin Dan retired. It didn't seem to be any specific injury, but it was the third week of 3 tournaments, and he had won the German Open, he had won the All England, and there he was in the semi-final. And I think, quite frankly, he was just a little bit jaded at the end and felt that S.Santoso was playing so well that he was going to be struggling. But look at that win-loss record for the year, 20-2.
4 times world champion, 5 times All England champion. It's a CV to make the mouth water. S.Santoso, well, he has been as high as world number 3, and this is his 5th appearance at the Thomas Cup. He's had some early exits. He's had a few injury problems of his own as well. There's their last meeting at the German Open Grand Prix Gold event in the final there in March. 21-11, 21-11, very convincing. But they did meet last June in a very tight affair at the Singapore Open. I'm sure you were at that one when Lin Dan won in the 3rd game, 22-20, which was a bit of a thriller.
Yes, in fact, in the last 3 meetings, they've twice been to 3 games, so it's an indication. Okay, that final in Germany was a very one-sided affair, but there are certainly signs to me that S.Santoso is growing in confidence the more times he plays him, and he's getting closer and closer.
And of course, this is his 5th Thomas Cup appearance, but usually it's been Taufik Hidayat who's been sort of the number 1 singles player. It's a new experience for S.Santoso, and I thought he coped with it admirably in his match against Rajiv Usuf on day 1.
Yes, it's you know, he's gone up in status. There was a lot of talk from Taufik Hidayat himself saying, you know, I'm 30, it's time for the young guns to be taking over, and they should be going to the Thomas Cup. And the National Federation in Indonesia persuaded Taufik that indeed he should come.
Because he didn't play in the Citroën Cup, did he, last year, if I remember rightly, Taufik?
I can't remember exactly, but you know, I think for S.Santoso, the commander's role, the captain's role, is actually perhaps suiting him quite well.
S.Santoso. On my right, China, represented by Lin Dan. Indonesia to serve. Love all. Play.
Well, we waited a little longer than we expected, but play is now underway for this evening session. You could close your eyes and know who won that point.
1-love.
S.Santoso off the mark. A little wide from
Service
Lindan.
over. 1, 2.
There's a little bit of drift in the court. Just moves as Lindan is playing it slightly to his right-hand side. First bit of explosion comes from Lindan.
Service over. 3, 1.
There is Lee Yongbo, head coach. Twice a former world champion himself in the men's doubles.
Lindan fully focused on the job here so far. He was asked after his win against Rajifusev about the Olympics. He said, well, let's forget about the Olympics for now. I'm here this week to play Thomas Cup. Great reactions. Been a fine start to the match, hasn't it? That's good. And Lindan enjoyed it.
5-1.
You know, it's right on the line. It's very easy, isn't it, in these early group games with, you know, that there's little chance of anything untoward happening to your country and team, that you can maybe not have quite the intensity required, but Lindan, being the supreme sportsman he is, the supreme athlete that he is completely focused on what he's got to do.
Yes, absolutely. He'll be very, very aware of his status here in China, and he'll be very keen to prove to the home fans just what a supreme athlete he is.
S.Santoso knows he's going to have to be at his best here just to keep in this game.
5.
Let's not forget Lindan was 4 love up against Rajifusev in the opening game, and then lost 7 points in a row. Well, they're all happy with their seating now, it looks. It must be so frustrating. S.Santoso, I think, thought he played a winner there. 2 shots later, he's lost the point.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things in general of all of Lindan's opponents. A number of times you play shots that against virtually any other player in the world would have been a winner, and it's very frustrating when what you think should be the end of the rally and the shuttle keeps coming back, and then you try and make it closer and closer to the lines, and that's when you start to make errors.
It's been a fabulous demonstration of his ability so far. Talking about the drift in the arena, and is it me or is the air conditioning being turned off this evening? It feels a little warmer. Don't know if that's just me sensing it, but
possibly the fact that there's such a good crowd in tonight just raised the temperature a little bit.
I know there's been a few complaints from some of the players about the drift that was in the arena, which I assume comes mainly from the air conditioning.
Yes, indeed.
Whether it's just been turned down a little.
Charles on the left as we look at them. Singles coach.
Points in a row now for Lindan, who is already in a commanding position. Sense of writing already on the wall here.
There's sort of a question mark in general about, you know, for S.Santoso to record his second victory over Lindan would take a monumental effort physically, mentally, and probably emotionally as well. And all the players have got to remember that whatever happens from these two teams, they've definitely qualified for the quarterfinals. They're going to have to play again tomorrow. So you've got to question. It's very, very difficult. I mean, instinct takes over as an athlete, and you always want to win. Of course you do. But you've also got to look at the big picture. And if you want to get through to the final, we don't know, of course, what the draw will be. That won't happen until the end of play finishes tonight. You know, but in a way, you've got to keep something in reserve.
We know the only nation that will avoid China, assuming they win tonight or win the group, will be Korea, who are ranked number 2 as far as the seedings here are concerned.
Yeah, well, they this afternoon, Korea beat Germany, so they know they will be the opposite end to China. Beyond that, they still have no idea.
Please wait.
More.
11-3. Play.
6 points in a row is the run right now for Lindan. S.Santoso back in the scoring.
Service over. 4-11. Service over. 12-4.
String's gone in the racket. Knew immediately he hit the smash.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a difficult predicament for the players of Indonesia. I mean, there's no chance of Santoso not playing in the quarterfinals. It's not like he's playing for his place or anything in the starting lineup. You know, you don't want to produce the performance of your life tonight when tomorrow night would be maybe the more significant one.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's no case that he's out there tonight not playing or trying to play at 100%, but as you say, instinct takes over.
13-4.
There's no doubt about it. Definitely less drift. Watching that shot from Lindan, definitely less drift than there was yesterday in the court.
Yes, in fact, in the second men's singles of this afternoon's match between Malaysia and Denmark, Jan Jorgensen was told by his coach, it's okay, you're hitting into the wind now, and very next rally hit one long of the back line, and he turned around to his coach and, well, said something that didn't really need to be translated. And I think you're right. I think the drift has changed, there's no doubt about it. It's wonderful control at the net.
Service over.
Steve Peterson and I were discussing this earlier on about the importance of the net play in men's singles, how it really dictates the rallies and creates the opportunities. If you've got a tight spinning net shot, then your opponent has to lift, and then you've got the attacking opportunities. You see that rally, there was no lifts. But even so, Lindan is able to create something because he's taking it so early at the net. As an opponent, you have to try and cover that net shot, which leaves yourself vulnerable to the fast flick deep into court. No, that's unbelievable. What a defensive shot from Lindan. It's absolutely outrageous. How many players could do that?
The thing is, you see it with lots of other sports. I know we've discussed this before. He makes it look so easy, and that's the brilliance of him, really, that he does make it look so easy. If you watch some of the best sportsmen, whether it's the likes of Federer at tennis, top golfers, Tiger Woods in his heyday, someone like Messi, they just make things look as if it comes so natural to them. Lindan certainly belongs in that category.
Service over.
Yes, he was on the shortlist for the Laureus Awards this year, wasn't he, as one of the greatest athletes of the year, won by Djokovic.
What a year he had, by the way.
Yeah.
3 Grand Slams for Djokovic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's good from Lindan. It's interesting actually looking at the build-up to the Olympics for the badminton players compared to the tennis players. The tennis players have got the French Open, they got Wimbledon, then the Olympics, 2 majors before the Olympics, and it just shows you where badminton holds the Olympics in terms of its prestige, say compared to tennis, which has got these 2 huge events that precede it. The same sort of scenario occurs when golf comes into the Olympics in 2016. Wow. Right on the line. How many times does that happen? Somehow it always falls on the line.
Yeah, it happens too often to be lucky.
Yeah.
Not luck, just good skill.
Mentioning the golfers, Gary Player once said, the more I practice, the luckier I get.
Yeah, how true. Just trying to be a little too cute there on that occasion, Lindan.
8, 19.
Well, game points have arrived already.
20.
This match just 17 minutes old.
Service over.
One saved,
9-20.
a hell of a lot more to go. Well, credit to S.Santoso. Playing some excellent shots. Most of them are coming back at him, but he's sticking with the plan. Oh, the court was being removed of a few drops of sweat. Players allowed a toweling down. I mean, that knee strapping there, I mean, it doesn't look as if there's anything untoward, the way he's moving and playing, but it's always concerning, isn't it, when you see that?
Yes, of course it is, especially with a player that normally doesn't wear such extensive strapping. But as you say, it doesn't seem to be hampering his movement at all.
Yeah, quite literally making up for lost time there, Lindan. 21-10. The opening going goes to China's favourite son. That was given out. I'm not sure it was, mind you. Oh, great atmosphere inside the arena tonight. Really is packed out. And all credit to them as well. They're not just focused on their local favourites either. 4 courts on offer, and with China playing on 2 of them, they would have maybe one of the other 2 a little forgotten, but they're not. Well, Simon S.Santoso knew what he was getting here, and he's getting it all right. Double the overhead winners and double the net winners as well.
Love all. Point.
I mean, Lindan obviously got a great reception here tonight, but what's impressed me from the crowd, and I mentioned there, they're not just cheering the Chinese players, but other games as well, not involving. They just, anyone that's achieved anything, when Taufik Hidiat came out the other night, anyone that's, you know, won the big ones, if you like, they get equal respect, don't they? And when I was driving in here this evening on the way to the arena, went past, and there's a couple outside their shop playing badminton over a crate. They just love the sport.
Yes, very much so. And not only do they love the sport, they're very knowledgeable about the sport as well. And the fans here in China always appreciate good play.
And you get recognised still, don't you, Jill? One or two come up to you.
Yep. Still occasionally.
2.
I think also it's not that the crowds just appreciate good play. What they really appreciate here in China is good effort. You know, and we've seen some of the early matches here in the Thomas and Uber Cup finals that, you know, some of the nations that aren't right at the top of world badminton, that is phenomenal. How did he just sway his body out of the way to give himself the freedom to play the shot?
S.Santoso was just about ready to celebrate the winner. Uh-oh, it's over my shoulder. Yeah, wonderful skills.
Play, please.
Shuttle affected,
Service
deflected by the net cord. Yeah, making it difficult for Lindan.
Well, an even start to this second game for S.Santoso. It's just about trying to play it point by point.
Yeah, he's disappointed in that. Too flat for the smash, hitting long of the big back line.
Simon.
Oof, wasn't long by much. Oh, that's super.
Service over. 5-all.
He'll change his racket. 28, isn't he, Lindan? Could you see him competing at the 2016 Olympic Games?
I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibilities. I mean, you think about Paul Erik Høyer Larsen from Denmark, who won the Olympic title in Atlanta. He was over the age of 30. I can't remember whether he was 30 or 31, but, you know, I think with the likes of Peter Gader, Taufik Hidayat, possibly Lee Chong-wei, all having openly stated that they're not continuing past the London Olympics as far as Olympics are concerned. Of course, some of them may continue to play on in international competition. You know, Lindan is such an outstanding athlete, and I suppose an awful lot of it depends on wear and tear on the body and keeping injury free.
He doesn't have as busy a schedule, say, as someone like Lee Chong-wei. He's, over the last couple of years, not played as many tournaments as a lot of the other players. He picks and chooses, and maybe that might help his longevity.
Yes, I've heard that argument before. Can't argue against it really in some ways, but I do think that badminton players have got to have an understanding, as indeed top golfers, top tennis players, that it's not only a responsibility to yourself, it's a responsibility to the sport. And I think now with the Super Series and the Premier Super Series events, you know, seeing the top players support all those top tournaments, or at least a large number of them, is very, very important. If we're to promote this sport globally, it's absolutely imperative that our star players play regularly on the tour.
Yeah, I understand that argument as well, but I mean, he's got the chance, Lindan, coming up at the Olympics, to become the first badminton player, male singles player, to defend his Olympic title. And it would be great to have him trying to make it, if he does win in London, number 3 in Brazil.
Yeah, and let's not forget he was the #1 seed in Athens, wasn't he? But he lost his first match to Ronald Susilo.
Well, S.Santoso giving it a little bit more of a fight so far in the second game. Trading blows in the last half a dozen points or so.
Play, please. 7-all. 7, silence. 7-all. 7-all.
S.Santoso lost count here or something? Seems to be questioning the scoreline.
Service over. 8-7. Play, please.
Oh, good defence. And then makes an error on the simple one.
Service over. 8-all.
going to be eagerly awaited, isn't it, the draw later tonight, for those that will still be up for it. It won't happen until everyone has finished their round-robin matches here. And it's a case of ABC, isn't it? Anyone but China. Just wide.
It really is incredible, because S.Santoso took that net shot so early and Lin Dan forced to take it late, but what a good lift. Right deep in court, would have landed on the back line.
Service over. 9-10.
2号场地将进行尤伯杯 A 组第2场的比赛，中国队于洋、王小李对阵印度尼西亚队于洋的名将马克斯瓦里、安迪克。
One Super Series event win for Santoso. That was a couple of years ago now, Jill.
Yes, it was the Denmark Open in 2009.
It just looks like a player to me that there's a nice calmness about his persona. I don't know if he's always like that, or maybe it's just because it's the Thomas Cup and he's playing in a team event and he's got teammates around, and maybe is he any different?
No, and it's very much an Indonesian way. It's an Indonesian trait that such relaxed, laid-back people, but you know, don't be deceived by that at all, because their desire to win and to achieve is absolutely up there with any other athlete. But you know, sometimes it's difficult watching a player like S.Santoso, because it's almost as if you want to shake him and say, come on, show some urgency about this. But you know, that's just his way.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Please wait, please wait, please wait. Eleven, 9. Play.
He's just upped the tempo, hasn't he? Lin Dan suddenly, last couple of rallies, playing at a higher pace. And playing with the sort of urgency that at times, as I've just said, love to see from S.Santoso. It's not in his personality.
He's disappointed, isn't he? Because he got there quite easily, really. And he's a showman as much as anything. And he's probably disappointed he didn't get it over. Umpire just checking he's okay. He's absolutely fine. Well, he gets there pretty easily, doesn't he? It just catches the top of the net, it comes down the wrong side.
More here if we can. Just yeah, Todd, thank you.
Just reminds me, you know, what happened to Lee Chong-wei and watching Lin Dan flying around. It's like whoever you're a supporter of going ahead of the World Cup and one of your favourite players goes down injured or goes in for a challenge. Is it going to hamper them for the big occasion? Not that the Thomas Cup and Uber Cups aren't big occasions, they're not, but quite naturally the Olympics is the pinnacle.
Perfection once again.
Long from Santoso, and he's lost 7 of the last 8 points now. Just as it looked like it might be a tighter game.
Aced with a flick serve in singles. Don't often see that.
Service over. 11.
Look up to the lights there from Lin Dan.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
14. 18.
You've got to like that, haven't you? What a splendid rally. Oh, just wide, just wide. Great entertainment. Who does he support?
18.
Well, making a nice run of things, isn't he? points in a row.
Service over.
3号场即将进行汤姆斯杯 B 组第2场比赛。日本队远藤大由、早川贤一对阵俄罗斯队卡里蒂库尔基、亚历山大杜拿卡斯科。
We will have the second match of Thomas Cup, men's doubles in court 3. Representing Japan, Hiroyuki Endo, Kenichi Hayakawa. Representing Russia, Vitaly Subotin, Alexandra Nikolakov.
Match points have arrived though. Well, it's been a very decent opening fair, hasn't it, in this match between China and Indonesia. Two great badminton sporting nations. Not the grandstand finish he was hoping for there, Lindan. Shuttle's come off second best.
17-20.
Lindan wins in a very well played match. S.Santoso definitely second best to Superdan. So China 1 to the good. Lindan, as expected, gets the job done. On court for nearly 45 minutes though. A good workout. "26 matches now in the Thomas Cup, and that was win number 25. Confirmation then of that scoreline: 21-10, 21-17 for the world number 2. Well, Santoso there with more overhead winners this time. Nearly 260 there from Lindan in terms of his fastest hit.